Why, hello YouTube. This is Baylor Mage again, bringing you what I think is our best all-rounder. Probably S plus for this league start if you're into the minion playstyle. This is the same build, Poison SRS. We've had a lot of questions about did Poison SRS survive? Is Poison SRS good enough? And the answer is it is almost entirely unchanged. We kind of hit the jackpot, got very lucky. So the only change from the patch notes for Trial of the Ancestors that changed anything about this build is that temp chains got nerfed from 40% to 25%. That means we've gone from a 40% more damage multiplier, because that's what it was, to a 25% more damage multiplier. Now, this sounds like a decent nerf, and it kind of is on your first initial swap to poison that you'll be able to do on day 1 or 2. That'll be somewhat noticeable if you played it last league, but it means instead of having roughly 9.5 to 10 million DPS on your first poison swap, you'll probably have somewhere in the vicinity of 8. It's not a huge deal. 8 million on day 2 when you change to poison, still perfectly fine, and the build will still get to complete poison cap anyway. So slightly slower on the transition. End game, not a problem, all the same. So why do I think this one's going to be S tier? Also, I will go over the path of building real quick a little bit later, but very little has changed. So if you've played it before, if you followed along last league, it's exactly the same. It has changed a little bit since the league start guide last time, but all those changes happened last league. Why do I think this is going to be S plus tier? First of all, Trial of the Ancestors. Little auto battler style arena. There are waves of mobs whenever we start new waves. Old entities still exist on out in the field. That means, at least as far as we know now, that if you're summoning a whole bunch of raging spirits and they exist over the arena and we start a new wave, they'll still exist. Even if they don't, auto-targeting, closed arena, they're going to annihilate everything. You're never going to have to aim. You're never going to have to go hunting down those extra mobs. You're never going to have to look at what you're doing. It's just going to do it automatically. That and Sanctum is back. And Poison SRS is probably one of the best Sanctum builds that you can possibly run. It was the only build to do a full no-hit Sanctum run in Ruthless, which should show you its power level. Poison SRS was also the only build that did a one-hit run, a no-hit run in a 1-link on hardcore. Now, to be fair, that was also a champion version of it, which had a lot less DPS than this, and it was also Ben, who's his own ascendancy, so that's basically cheating. So take that for what you will, but either way, it will be absolutely fantastic at Sanctum. It is one of the best Sanctum runners around, and I think it's going to be one of the best Trial of the Ancestors around. So for people who have played it before, I'm going to jump into the path of building. I'm going to show you what changed, but otherwise, absolutely in love with it. It'll definitely be a fantastic start. So let's jump in. All right. So here is the path of building for this build. Now you can see we've got a bunch of leveling trees, just like normal. This path of building that you're seeing in the video is not updated because path of building hasn't updated. Now, when path of building updates, I will do the update and I will just update it in the description, but pathing, points taken, nothing's changed. Our tree didn't change. So if you happen to check this in the little window where path of building is updated and I haven't yet, and you get an out of date message, you can just ignore it. I will replace the link, but you can just ignore it. Nothing changes in the thing. So few things that did change. Very few things changed during the league. One, if you've played this before, you will notice we no longer use 7 in sleep, which was also very expensive really early. People were trying to afford it on day 2. It was quite expensive. And then it turned out the 7 in sleep for the Wither on Hit, which is the upgraded version, not even that good. So, the United in Dream, which was the updated version, not even that good. So we're using 7 in Sleep now, which is the unupgraded version of the Chalupa sword, making it significantly cheaper. Excuse me. Significantly cheaper. This is the one that just drops on the floor, so you don't need a blessing. Now, the only difference between the two swords is that one gives chance to inflict Wither on hit, and the other one gives minions have chance to poison on hit. Those are the only differences that matter to us. And all that means is we've changed our link to start with from Withering Touch to chance to poison. Because both of the swords give the exact same other stats that matter, and we need poison cap and we need Wither on hit, it doesn't so much matter what sword we use as much as it matters how do we fill the gaps in the rest of the build. And the rest of the build, just using chance to poison support, significantly better. And chance to poison support can be replaced with another support, usually void manipulation. It can be replaced with another support as soon as you get poison cap without it, which you won't have immediately, but you absolutely can get, right? You can put some poison chance in the jewels that are in your belt. You can put poison chance on almost every jewel. You can get 100% without it. You won't have it immediately. So we use chance to poison. That gives us the 40% chance to poison. The sword was giving us 60, so this means we have to do a little tiny bit more poison out of our jewels, but it is not a big deal because they don't have to be great jewels to begin with, and you can always upgrade as you go. This comes along with a bunch of flat added chaos damage, which build scales with greatly, and it's just way better. So we've done that, and that is realistically the only change that I can think of between last league's Poison SRS and this league's Poison SRS. I'm going to be honest, not entirely sure how we escaped the nerf. The amount of people who come back saying, hey, I played this build last league and it was absolutely fantastic, and I'm 15 levels higher than I've ever been, and it annihilates everything. And it's been like that for 2 leagues now. I didn't expect to be able to put this video out again and say, yes, play it again. But I am, and yes, play it again. So enjoy that. The one other thing that I'm going to do, excuse me, still a little bit sick from the convention. The one other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to separately link the one I played last league the moment I sold it. So I sold this on day 4 or 5 of a league. So I'm just going to separately give you a link to my actual character from last league so that you have an idea of what direction to min-max things into. Otherwise, there's an FAQ doc. There's tons of videos on it. You'll definitely be able to min-max stuff quite a lot. This separate path of building is not as neat and clean as the leveling one because it is just a snapshot of my actual build that I sold a few days into the league when I had done all the progression last time. But I'm still going to link it just so that you can see where I went first. And that is all. I hope everybody who's played this before will have a great time. Anyone who has never played it before, this is I suspect this is the last time you ever play Poison SRS. I'm sad about it. I don't see a way they keep letting this live. I'm expecting it to get nerfed again. So it's honestly, I'm not even going to be sad if it gets nerfed next league. But for now, that's all I've got. Enjoy Poison SRS. We survived all of the nerfs. I am Baylor Mage, and I will see everybody later. Goodbye.